Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Wednesday, December 15th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Rose Bowl game against Utah in 17 days, the game against Michigan in 347 days. Today is one of the biggest days on the Ohio State football calendar, early signing day, when the majority of the Buckeyes 2022 class will be signed, sealed, and delivered to Ohio State. On Tuesday afternoon, we got official word that one of the nation's best players would be a part of that class. Buckeye Scoop recruiting analyst Marc Givler is my guest this morning. Marc, what are the Buckeyes getting in new commit Caden Curry?
Yeah, they're getting a lot of versatility. I mean, he's played inside, he's played on the edge. So he can rush the passer, he can set the edge out as a strong side end, he can shoot gaps as a kind of undersized, quick three tech. I think it's interesting now with Jim Knowles in, how that's going to work. I think it makes things maybe a little bit easier now with Jim Knowles, because I don't think Caden will fit that Leo role where he's kind of a stand-up edge rusher. I think they have other guys that will fit that role better. So where I think Caden probably starts is as a strong side end with his hand in the dirt, as a guy who can rush the passer and stop the run. Gives you a little bit of everything and can kind of move inside. I'm assuming the Rushman package isn't going away, but I guess we have to wait and see on that. But that's a guy that would be a great fit as an interior pass rusher in like third and long situations. So, definitely a versatile guy, great quickness, tremendous motor, winner. I think he's, back-to-back, I believe back-to-back undefeated state championships. So, definitely coming from a great program and a guy who I think once he's able to put on a little bit of weight is going to be a pretty early contributor.
We started talking about Caden Curry basically as soon as this show launched in the summer of 2020. And you just absolutely, every time I talked to you about him, you never wavered on him heading to Ohio State. He's getting offers from Alabama and everyone's kind of going, oh, what's this mean? And you just like, nope, he's going to Ohio State. Why were you so sure he was going to choose the Buckeyes?
Well, there were just so many family ties to Ohio. He's got a lot of family from Marion area. Mom born and raised in Ohio, grandparents from Ohio. They would go out and fly to the Rose Bowl. We're obviously kind of ironic now with Ohio State playing there in about 2 weeks. But so big Ohio State fans, Ohio ties. 3 hours from Columbus, Ohio State really prioritized him early and treated him like he was an in-state kid. I mean, just kind of, a must-get type of guy that they would have really taken personally if they didn't get him. So all those factors, and then you throw in the fact that, Larry Johnson's going to be recruiting him, and what Larry Johnson has done historically on the defensive line and recruiting and in development. And just felt like one of those kids that was, going to end up at Ohio State barring some type of disaster.
Well, there are a couple other top 100-ish defensive linemen who Larry Johnson is recruiting who the Buckeyes could potentially add. Bill Green was on yesterday's show, had both Hero Canoe and Amari Abor in the class. Do you think they're in, number one? And number two, given that they're both going to officially announce at All-Star games in January, do you know if they're actually planning to sign tomorrow and then just try and keep it quiet for a few weeks?
So, my projection right now is that both are going to end up at Ohio State. I'm pretty confident in that, especially if they do sign this week. To jump into that part of it, yes, my understanding is that they're going to sign this week and then announce the All-Star games. Now, I don't know how, we may not be able to prove that right or wrong for a couple of weeks, but that was my understanding, is that they both were expected to sign somewhere this week and then make their announcements at their All-Star games. Hero Canoe, the Adidas game, formerly the Army Bowl, on January 8th, and Amari Abor at the Under Armour game on January 2nd. Probably, I don't know. I think I'm probably a little more confident in Canoe. I think my confidence, though, has grown from where it was a couple weeks ago on Abor, where a couple weeks ago it was just there were so many teams involved, and just I like what I've been hearing lately on Amari Abor. So pretty high confidence, I think, in both at this point. And then, of course, there's also Christian Miller out there who is also supposed to announce on January 8th in San Antonio. And I have Georgia there right now, but that one has been so all over the place that, again, if there was ever a kid that would pull a really big surprise on signing day or at an all-star game, Christian Miller would really fit that bill. But right now, I think it's Georgia.
So if the Buckeyes do get Curry, Canoe, Abor, and add them to Kenyatta Jackson. Obviously, they got Curry on Tuesday, but you add those three guys to Kenyatta Jackson. How does that class rank to you compared to some of Larry Johnson's recent defensive line classes? And how do you see those four guys slotting in together? Are those four guys that are complementary, or those guys four guys that might be, fighting for playing time at the same spots?
Well, it's definitely one of his best classes on paper, in my opinion. Now, he may have just signed his best one last year, so it's a little bit unfortunate timing there, as we say, well, it's not even as good as the one he signed last year, but it's definitely up, for me, near the top of the best classes he signed at Ohio State, if he's able to do that. Those would be four top 100 guys. I believe various services have at least a couple of them as 5 stars. It's funny, guys like, someone like Caden Curry, who I think is the safest pick of the entire group to be an impact player in college, is maybe the lowest ranked guy. And then you got someone like Kenyatta Jackson, who maybe I believe is a little lower ranked than some of the other guys as well, who might have the highest upside. So you throw all that together, that's a great mix. I do think they fit well. Canoe would be kind of your one tech, your nose. Caden Curry, as we just talked about, can kind of be put in different spots in different situations. Kenyatta Jackson could play either end spot, but I do think he could play that Leo spot. He's a heck of an athlete. So if someone's playing that strong side spot, certainly Kenyatta could play the Leo. And Amari Abor's got a little bit of that in him too, as far as being a little bit versatile. I think he's probably an edge guy, but is he more of like the stand-up guy, or is he more of like a base guy? I think it's kind of dependent on where his body goes. I've had kind of mixed reviews on that. I've had people tell me, well, he could even slide inside. And I had someone tell me the other day down in Texas who had just seen him a couple of weeks ago, said, man, he looks a lot like Eni White physically right now. He's trimmed down a little bit, and Eni White was definitely a pure edge guy. So, there's some versatility there to move guys around, see how their bodies develop, but there's no reason to think that all four of them couldn't play on the field at the same time together, just especially in pass rushing situations.
It feels to me like this is a more dramatic year on early signing day. Like generally, Ohio State has the class together, and it's just, one kid. Is Jordan Battle going to flip to Alabama? Is Clark Phillips going to flip to Utah? This year, it just feels like there's a lot more drama. We just talked about a couple of guys who are, going in uncommitted to early signing day. On the other side of the ball, you get Carson Hinsman, who's an offensive lineman out of Wisconsin. That is going right down to the wire. This is another guy I talked to Bill about yesterday, and he kind of went like, Bill's usually pretty good about making a call and sticking with it. It was kind of like, well, like just a little bit of a lean, but that's about it. And normally it feels like even if someone's not committed, we kind of know where the kid's going the day before signing day. This time it feels like with Carson Hinsman, this might legitimately just still be a mystery.
Yeah, I don't think he knows as of as of maybe hitting the pillow on Tuesday night. I'm not sure. It just it's crazy. He's not a game player. I think if he knew where he was going, it probably would have been over by now. I think he's really struggling with this, and that's going to be interesting. Could he sign, today, later this morning? That very, very possible. Could he wait? I mean, this could go to February. If there's one guy left out there that could go to February, it might be Hinsman. He may pump the brakes, but my instinct is that he will figure this out by, I guess he really has till Friday to figure this out. It's like a 3-day open window. Mm-hmm. My instinct is that he'll figure this out by Friday. But yeah, it's not one of those, he's made his decision and now he's got to keep everyone off the trail or whatever. I don't think he knows.
This is a pretty good class. This is not an elite, like in the running for number one in the nation kind of class like they had last year, but this is still a very good top 5 class in the nation. But it's not, this is not perfect. There's guys that they missed out on. So what holes do you see in this class that they'll potentially either have to fill in February if, other guys carry forward to February and don't sign in December, or potentially through the portal?
Yeah, I mean, I think again, Bill and I talked about this the other day. Is Carson Hinsman's probably even more important than his ranking would indicate, because if they don't get Carson Hinsman, now you're down. You definitely wanted to take 4. You probably should have taken 5 offensive linemen. You're only at 3. I know you're working the portal a little bit with the kid from FIU, but there's not much else out there. Ernest Green is going to sign on Wednesday with somebody and then announce at an All-Star game. So you're going to know if you're getting Ernest Green or not. That doesn't look like it's going to happen right now. We'll see. But I think offensive line would be a big concern if they don't get Hinsman. And then even if they do get Hinsman, I still think they're going to want to take a peek and see what's left out there just in case. I think a lot of people are going to say the safety position, and I'm not totally disagreeing with that. And I'm certainly not trying to say that, it's just totally fine that they lost Xavier Wampa and that they're probably not going to get Zion Branch when he announces on Wednesday. But they've taken 14 defensive backs the last 3 years. There's got to be someone that can play safety in that group. I look at like someone like Kai Stokes from Florida, and I think, man, that's a great looking free safety prospect. I know there's been some talk about corner. I think he's a free safety. So I think they have bodies they can shuffle that can fill that gap, and that maybe they would go portal hunting instead. There's been some names thrown out there of guys they should double back on at safety. I'm not convinced. I don't think you reach at this point. I think a better option again would be go find a third or fourth year player, a 1 year rental, I guess, as use a hockey term, the rental for a year, and plug the gap and then develop the 14 defensive backs you've brought in the last 3 classes. And I realize Ryan Watts is off to the portal, so I realize they're not all on campus still, but they've brought in so many guys. I'm just not as, I think it's disappointing to miss on those guys, which we don't know yet on Zion Branch, but it's not looking very good. I'm not saying it's not important that they couldn't get one of those guys, but I just don't think it's a total disaster when I look at the roster. Outside of that, they got Devin Brown late. That was huge. They certainly have, they got, the running back situation was done early. Receiver was done early. I think again, portal watch on tight end. I think they need an instant impact guy at tight end. But from a high school prospect standpoint, I think it really comes down to making sure they close out this defensive line class the way we think they will, and then seeing what happens at offensive line, and then again maybe a defensive back. But I would go portal on that one.
And I think I mentioned this earlier, but you had a fantastic episode of the Gives in the Bank podcast. You and Bill Green got together, did that. That dropped on the Caden Curry commitment and some other early signing day stuff, and where things stand with certain guys. That is absolutely worth a listen and also worth a subscription. That is a great show. Always enjoy that. And as I told Tony Gerderman on Buckeye Weekly on Tuesday, I said, I generally, my recruiting coverage is generally, I listen to the smart people around me, and then Bill and Mark and Alex tell me what to think. And I say, okay, good. All right. Now I know what I need to know. So that is, that's where I go to get my information. That is where you should go to get your information as well. So subscribe to Gives in the Bank, wherever you get the morning scoop, wherever you get Buckeye Weekly. It is a fantastic show, well worth your time. So you can subscribe, leave them a 5-star rating and review. They've absolutely earned it. And also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. We put a lot of our stuff there, podcasts, press conferences, pregame shows, postgame shows. You got it. You name it. It's all there. Buckeye Scoop, youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop. You can subscribe right there by hitting that bell. And we're going to have coverage all over the country today. Alex Gleitman is down in Texas, where Terrence Brooks will be signing. We didn't even talk about Terrence Brooks. There will be some drama there around Terrence Brooks on Wednesday. He's still committed to Ohio State as of the time we're recording this, but Texas is making a big push there. So we'll have coverage of Terrence Brooks on Wednesday. Kevin Noon with Sonny Styles, another guy who we haven't mentioned that is a player of some note that you may want to take note of on Wednesday. Should have plenty of good coverage and lots of stuff to talk about. Another boring day in Ohio State football with 5 guys who aren't committed yet, who may or may not sign with Ohio State. Oh boy, there's always something to talk about on this show, which as the host of the show, I don't mind at all. Might not be great for Ohio State fans' blood pressure at all times, but there's always something interesting going on. So you can find that all at buckeyescoop.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.